Ms. Kutz, while your attorney looks for that document, I could ask some other follow-up questions, perhaps. Can we, Mr. Yurt, can we proceed?
Wait, was it 65?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, ask other questions. I'll keep looking.
Okay. Ms. Kutz, I guess I want to follow up a little bit more to understand what, if you were working on short-term disability, wouldn't a doctor's note substantiating your medical need to be away from work, wouldn't that be in support of short-term disability as well?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Well, I'd asked you what was the problem with the 3-day timeline to provide a medical note, and you said you were working on getting your short-term disability in order.
Yes.
Wouldn't the doctor's note be in support of short-term disability as well?
Yes.
Okay, so then what about the short-term disability process made it difficult to secure a doctor's note within that 3-day period?
Well, that hadn't been finished yet.
What hadn't been finished?
The short-term disability. I had just started working on that.
Okay. But
Takes time.
okay. So other than the fact that it took, it takes some time to put in an application for short-term disability, I mean, was that the obstacle in your mind?
Yes.
Okay. And when you left a voicemail for Ms. Doherty, did you convey any of that to her?
Yes.
How did you do so? What did you say in the voicemail about that?
I told her I was working on the short-term disability with the insurance company, and that as soon as I had the information, I would get it to her. And that I had been completely open and honest with her and had kept her completely updated and informed about what was going on the entire time.
And you said that all in the voicemail?
I did.
Okay. Did you ask for any additional time to get a doctor's note?
I asked her what else she wanted me to do. So yes, in my mind, that was asking her for more time.
Okay.
I do now have trial exhibit 14 in front of me, and I can hand it to the witness if you're ready for it.
Please do. Okay, Ms. Kutz, you've got exhibit 14 in front of you. You recognize this to be a 2-page email?
Yes.
Okay. And could you turn to the second page, please? And at the very top, well, and just so we're oriented, do you understand this to be a letter from Ms. Brust to yourself, or an email?
Yes.
Okay. And at the top of page 2, Ms. Brust wrote, on July 28th, you notified Ms. Doherty via voicemail that you are unable to provide medical documentation, stating that you are unable to report to work. And I guess my question is, so do you find this to be accurate?
Yes.
Okay. And but it says here that you left a voicemail saying that you were unable to provide medical documentation, stating that you are unable to report to work. It doesn't state that, you indicated you could get it, but you needed more time. Anything, I mean, do you dispute that all you stated was you are unable to provide medical documentation stating that you are unable to report to work?
Objection, I think that question was compound.
Well, I guess it goes to clarification of what the voicemail said. So Ms. Kutz left the voicemail. Can you help clarify what it was that you said in this voicemail, Ms. Kutz?
I think what I was saying is that the doctor said I couldn't go back to work until we figured out if the medicine was going to work or not. And I needed to go back and see this doctor before he would release me to go back to work in a couple weeks. So I couldn't go back to work for a couple weeks until we knew if this medicine was going to work.
Okay.
And he was a new doctor to me. So I went back to my doctor, Dr. Menser, who was my regular doctor, and he said, yeah, he said, you have to wait 2 weeks. You have to wait 2 weeks and give this medicine a try.
Okay. I mean, you're relating to me the details of how you recall, your conversations with your doctor. But the question is whether you told Ms. Doherty via voicemail that you were unable to provide medical documentation, or whether you said you just needed some more time. Can you tell me what it was that you expressed to Ms. Doherty?
Yes, I told her I needed more time.
Okay, could you go to Lumen C22? This is trial exhibit 15.
Base number?
62.
Does that continue on to another page?
Yes, I believe it goes on for 3 pages.
Can you be clear when she needs to turn the page? Because I'm gonna have to help her. It's back in front.
Okay, I think just page 62 is all right.
Just the one you're looking at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. You recognize this email exchange here between yourself and Ms. Brust?
Yes.
Okay, and the first one at the very top is a message from Ms. Brust to you, but I'll get to that in a moment. Just a little further down, it's a email you authored starting Dear Lumen. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And in here, do you express just any dissatisfaction with the 3-day timeline? And I guess to be fair, it does go on to the next page, Mr. Yerk.
So that would be 63.
Yeah.
I think that's the back. Yeah, okay. Now, if the question is simply asking, what does the document say? I'm going to object to the extent the document speaks for itself.
Quite frankly, I don't remember what the question was. What was the question, Attorney Stoffel?
If there's any expression in this email about the concern or dissatisfaction about the 3-day timeline.
Okay, and Ms. Kutz, what is your response to that question?
Because you're able to read that document clearly. I think my client's having some difficulties reading the document. I'm going to try and find a way to make it bigger. Could we maybe take, I guess there's a question from the witness, so I don't know how to proceed here.
Well, I guess at this point in time, the document does speak for itself. I'm going to, I guess, leave it at that. What's your next question, Attorney Stoffel?
Yes. Okay, that's fine. Okay.
We asked for a 5-minute break.
That's fine with me.
I missed it. What did you say, Attorney Yerk?
I'd like a 5-minute break if possible.
Okay, 3:35. We'll come back.
Thank you.
Okay, we're back on the record
Okay.
now. And I think the last question was there any objection to 3-day time limit within the body of the email? That was the subject of the question. I guess, did Ms. Kutz, did you want to answer that question, or did you want to just let the document speak for itself?
I was unable to read the document.
All right. Why don't you ask your next question, Attorney Stoffel?
Okay. And well, same day, then, and I'll read. So you wrote what you were attempting to read, which is a few paragraph long email. And in response, later that evening at 8:30 p.m., Ms. Brust wrote back and wrote, and I'll read it. I appreciate your prompt response. Thank you for the information that you have provided. Please understand, for you to be off on a medical leave of absence, you do need medical substantiation. Yeah, I guess I don't think you're reading it. I've read it back to you. Do you recall receiving that email?
Yes.
Okay. And do you did you have any objection at this time to providing medical substantiation?
No, I was working on it.
Okay. Did you find it unreasonable that she was reiterating that medical substantiation was necessary?
No, like I said, I was working on it with the insurance company.
Okay. Do you recall then? It does say the last sentence of her message to you. Please feel free to contact me at, and then the phone number is there if you would like to discuss this further. Do you recall any conversation with Miss Brust that day or that evening over the phone?
No,
Yeah, you don't recall calling her or she calling you, or her calling you for further clarification or discussion of these issues.
no.
Okay. Then if we could turn to Trial Exhibit 16, which is Claimant's Exhibit 5.
Is this going to be something that we need my
This-
client to read?
Oh,
Well, it's just this that do you know where we're at? It's the exchange with the medical provider.
So I have it up, but I'm wondering, do we need my client to read it? Because then I'll find a copy for her and we can muddle through.
Well, maybe I can just ask questions about it. I wanted to have it in front of her to help refresh her recollection if necessary, but let's see if we can go by memory. Okay, Ms. Kutz. So we were just talking about an email exchange going into the evening of July 29th. And if you recall, you've produced in discovery and you were questioned about at the last hearing an email or messenger exchange with your medical provider about securing a doctor's note. Do you recall that exchange with your medical providers?
Yes.
Okay. And the first message is from, it's at 9:28 in the morning from a Megan, MA for Dr. Mentzer. And it says, just letting you know we received your message. And I composed a rough draft of a work excuse letter for you for the next 2 weeks. Do you recall when you left the message for Dr. Mentzer's office?
I sent him a my chart.
Was it, in relations to, well, let's just keep it simple. Do you know what day you sent it?
No,
Did you send it after, just for purposes of seeing if we can narrow this down in any way? Do you know if you sent the message to Dr. Mentzer's office after Ms. Doherty asked for medical substantiation?
I probably sent it that night after the email with Carrie.
Okay. And by the next morning, they'd let you know that a rough draft had been composed, and as she writes, I'm awaiting for Dr. Menster to review and sign it. Does that sound right to you?
Yes.
Okay. And then Ms. I guess I don't know her last name. Megan wrote to you and I will then fax it to your work as you requested. Did you ask whoever you were talking to at Dr. Menser's office to fax it to SPI?
Yes.
Did you have any concerns about faxing it to SPI, given that you've already explained to us that that fax machine didn't work well?
No, because Stacy wanted it.
Right. Do you recall, you've explained to us that there were problems with that fax machine that you were aware of, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, did you have any concerns that you were asking the doctor's office to fax the medical note to a fax machine you knew to be problematic?
I didn't know how else they were going to send it to her.
Okay, well, the very next message is, "Hi, Megan, thank you. Would you kindly send the letter to Carrie Brust, HR?" And then you provide Ms. Brust's email address there. Did it occur to you, since the fax machine at SPI didn't work well, just to have the doctor email it to Ms. Doherty as well?
That was when Carrie came to my house, asked to see my my chart, and said she wanted the same information and she should email it to Carrie.
Okay, except that I think we've all established that that conversation with Ms. Brust was August 4th, and your request is of July 30th to email to Ms. Brust.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Okay. Well, Mr. Yerk, are you able to put this in front of her?
I can do my best. Give me one moment here. Is there a part of this you want me to point out to my client?
Well, the question was if I guess, well, I don't know if there was a question because I think viewing the document is contingent on what the next question is. So why don't I just ask it? Ms. Kutz, you've testified that. Oh,
364.
I'm sorry. I thought Ms. Kutz was speaking. It was a PA announcement. You've testified that. I guess I asked you why you wanted you asked for the message, the doctor's note, to be sent to Ms. Doherty by fax, but Ms. Brust by email. And you said, well, your request to Ms. Brust was on the 4th of August, when in fact the document here says July 30th. So I guess in light of that, that the premise of the answer doesn't square with the document we're discussing. My question is the same as to why you didn't have concerns about asking for the document to be sent to a fax you knew to be problematic.
I'm going to object. I think that question's compound. There were multiple questions in there.
Well, if the witness understands the question, I'll let her answer it. Ms. Kutz?
It didn't occur to me to do email. We always did it by fax. So at the time, that's just what I asked her to do.
Okay. Do you know why you didn't ask her to fax it to the network office, to Ms. Brust?
Because Stacy is my immediate boss and that's who I was working with. She's the one that asked me for the documentation.
Okay. Okay, I'd like to change gears again to move on to this August 4th meet you had with Ms. Brust at your, is it an apartment?
Yes.
Okay. You explained Ms. Brust, am I correct that this took place on August 4th, 2021?
Yes.
Okay. And you explained that she came to your apartment, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And she knocked on your door. So is there no, like some apartments have, you need to walk in a door and then that's locked, and then once you're in you can access other apartment or all the apartments. Does your apartment just open to the outside world?
I'm gonna object. I don't see the relevance.
Well, that's
of this.
fine. I was just trying to place it, but you're right. It's unimportant. What was the discussion upon Ms. Brust's coming into your apartment?
She wanted to know how I was doing. I told her I had a massive migraine. Um, she asked to see my documentation from my doctor. And the only thing I really had would be my chart, and she asked to see my chart. So even though I wasn't feeling good, I opened it up and she looked at it.
Okay. And I want to ask you some follow-ups about that. The first, uh, the time you testified about this at this hearing, you said she demanded to see your my chart, and now you're saying asked to see it. Uh, was it more was it a demand, or was she just asking if she could see it?
If you know Carrie's personality, it's more of a demand.
Okay. Did it wasn't conversely that you offered to show it to her?
No.
Okay. And were you able to pull it up and show it to her?
Yes.
Okay. And then you said she had me print some things. What did she have you print?
I don't remember the exact documents.
Do you remember the nature of the documents?
Um, um, no, not exactly. Probably the doctor I had visited for my migraines.
And
Um,
did you, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Did you have something else to say?
no.
Okay. And what do you mean by she printed the doctor you had seen for your migraines?
I didn't know how to say his name. And so she just wanted to know who I went to see and what he prescribed.
And so did you type up a memo that you printed for her? Or I don't understand what you're describing.
Have you ever seen a My Chart page?
Oh, are you telling me she had you print a my chart?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have a printer at home to have done that?
Yeah. Yes.
And we saw the email, the messenger exchange, or what that those communications between you and your medical provider, where you'd asked the doctor's note to be sent to Ms. Brust. Did you come to learn at that meeting why Ms. Brust hadn't seen that letter?
No.
You didn't, Ms. Brust didn't, or you, the two of you, let me put it this way, the two of you didn't have an exchange wherein you figured out why Ms. Brust was unaware of the doctor's letter on that day.
No.
Okay.